Have you ever witnessed something so unbelievable in a public space that you had to look twice to be certain of what was happening? Around the world, bizarre and unexpected events take place in front of large crowds, leaving everyone astounded. From unexpected encounters to public challenges that defy common sense, we can explore some of the most surreal public acts that have ever happened. These are the acts you will watch today. A woman shared a video on her social media showing a certain skill, let's say quite unusual, that she is able to perform, and that of course attracted a lot of attention. In the footage, she appears in front of the Eiffel Tower, in Paris, in France, holding one of those long balloons in her hand. Suddenly, she begins to swallow it, and impressively fits it completely into her mouth. After swallowing a balloon that large, she pulls it back, and we can see that it gradually returns to its original shape. She does this in the midst of the tourists who were there, and naturally, everyone is amazed by the woman's skill. The video she posted quickly began circulating on the internet, with people trying to figure out how she managed to do that, and truly, no one could explain it. Some believe it might be an optical illusion or video editing, but it's impossible to notice anything. A wife was caught in a market behaving in a very strange way, quite different from what one would call, let's say, a wife's normal behavior. In the footage, she is picking out some fruit when another pretty woman with a nice figure comes closer, stretching to reach some fruit that is higher up. Unbelievably, she is impressed by the other woman's beauty and even nudges her husband to show him how beautiful that woman is. Yes, you heard that right. She nudges her husband to point out another woman, something completely unthinkable. This video was also widely commented upon, with many men joking that they would like to have a wife like that and others completely doubting that it was real. After all, such behavior from a wife is practically impossible. Some fishermen were in a canoe traveling along a river when one of them decided to take a dip to cool off, and got quite a shock with what he found. While he was cooling off in the river, the other fisherman who remained in the canoe recorded the moment on camera until the man in the water felt something touching his leg. At first, he thought it was nothing and ignored it. However, he felt it again, and suspecting it might be a fish, he reached down to grab the animal. After a few moments, he managed to get hold of the creature, and as he pulled it out of the water, he got a huge fright. It turned out to be an alligator. Yes, that's right. The animal was pulled out of the water with its jaws open, ready to bite something. Fortunately, the fisherman did not receive a nasty bite. The water of that particular river was very murky, meaning nothing was visible. So, unworried, he thought he was dealing with some fish, but he was mistaken and nearly got into serious trouble. A woman was seen walking through a shopping mall with her husband and their child, but what caught everyone's attention was the sign her husband was carrying, on which it stated that he had cheated on his wife. The husband walks into the mall beside her, and the child, with the sign hung over his body declaring that he had been unfaithful. Not satisfied with making her husband go through that shame, she stops in the middle of the place and starts shouting, saying that he had cheated on her, going out with his lover while she stayed home alone, taking care of their newborn baby. Well, the husband, even while being exposed, seems to accept the humiliating situation and just stands there.
For your fans. He had a 2-year affair while I had his second baby.
Some rumors say that he did not want a divorce and begged for forgiveness. However, the wife would only accept if he agreed to be humiliated in that manner, and that is why he submitted to it. But none of this is official, and many people still believe it could have all been staged. Nick Yardy is a content creator who gained prominence on the internet for sharing TikTok videos related to his partner, Jade's pregnancy, as well as her mother's pregnancy. In one of the videos titled "Jade and Her Mom Pregnant," he shows scenes of the two women, both expecting children, which caused a huge stir online. After all, it seemed that he might be the father of both babies. In other words, he had impregnated both the mother and the daughter. And the most bizarre part of all is that they all lived together in harmony, as if it were the most normal situation in the world. However, it is worth noting that there is no official information confirming whether Nick Yardy is the father of both babies, whether he actually lives with both women, or if it is all just for attention and engagement. A woman, thinking she was ringing the doorbell at a friend's house, decided to do a funny dance at the door so they could watch through the security camera. But she was surprised by the outcome. Upon ringing the doorbell, she starts doing a goofy dance there, hoping her friends would see and laugh. However, it was not their house. That's right, she was at the wrong house, and the person who answered, upon checking who it was, could see her dancing by the door, obviously feeling quite confused and concerned. Realizing her mistake, the woman becomes completely embarrassed and tries to explain herself. At first, she moves away from the door, mortified, but then she returns and, still very awkward, begins to say that she had mistaken the house, apologizing profusely. Somehow, the moment ended up on the internet, going viral. In July of 2024, a woman tried to leave without paying the bill at the Longhorn Steakhouse restaurant in Panama City Beach in Florida in the United States. Right after finishing her meal, she attempted to leave without paying anything, but quickly realized she had left her purse in the establishment, forcing her to return to get it. Upon going back, a staff member held the purse while the woman, visibly angry, demanded its return. The situation was recorded by another customer, and the video went viral on TikTok, amassing thousands more views. The restaurant manager confirmed the incident but provided no further details. According to information from witnesses who were present, she ended up having to pay the bill, since her purse was in the restaurant's possession, and the staff also threatened to call the police if she did not settle her tab. A couple, along with their young child, was visiting what appears to be a park or zoo when they decided to enter the sea lion's enclosure to take very close pictures with the trained animal. They sit in a designated spot, and the trainer opens the gate for the animal to come in. Moments later, the creature approaches the bench and stays there among the family, posed for the photos. It makes funny faces, opens its mouth, and what stands out most is the little boy, who, upon noticing the large creature right next to him, does not seem very comfortable and can't stop looking at it. The mother even forces the boy's head forward so that he will look toward the photo. Footage of the moment ended up on the internet, and many online users commented, criticizing the situation as the child seemed quite scared and could end up traumatized. Many also called out the mother's ignorance for forcing her son's head forward just for a picture. A gas station security camera captured the moment a customer on a motorcycle startled all the attendants at the establishment because of how he behaved. He arrives like any other customer and asks to fill up his motorcycle. However, when it's time to pay, he pulls his wallet out from his waist as though it were a weapon, and that immediately frightens everyone who notices the motion. It truly looks like he's drawing a gun from his waistband to commit a robbery, something that unfortunately is very common at gas stations. The attendant who was serving him runs off, and he stands there not understanding anything. Another attendant nearby approaches, apparently trying to stop the man, thinking it was a robbery. But he soon realizes that, in fact, the man was just holding his wallet, and everything ends well. It's unknown if the man did it on purpose to scare people or if it was completely unintentional, but it ended up being amusing. A man who was with a friend at a snack bar showed complete aggression and began wrecking the place, throwing tables and chairs around, even at employees, for no apparent reason. In the footage taken by another customer, the man appears completely out of control, destroying the place and confronting a female employee. His friend, leaning against the counter, just watches everything. However, at a certain point, another customer who was there ended up defending the employees and tackled the man, knocking him to the floor and attempting to throw him out. The friend tries to help but is also knocked down, and both are forced to leave. Apparently, the two were intoxicated and acted without any justification. Fortunately, one of the customers managed to intervene to stop them and expel them from the place before they could hurt someone or do something worse. A man grabbed people's attention at a traffic light by appearing dressed as Jack Sparrow, the character portrayed by Johnny Depp in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. In footage recorded by a driver passing by, the man used his costume precisely to draw attention and ask for financial help from those who drove through the area. Because of his creativity and the very well-made costume, the drivers ended up offering him money, and he benefited from his clever idea. He attracted so much attention that many drivers started recording the moment, and the videos went viral on the internet thanks to the high-quality portrayal of the character. A motorcyclist who was always being chased by a barking dog every time he rode past on his bike decided to reverse the roles, and the result was hilarious. In images filmed by the motorcyclist himself, the man rides along the street on his bike, waiting for the dog to bark at him. As soon as the animal does so, he gets off the motorcycle and runs toward the dog, yelling, making it flee. The motorcyclist wanted the dog to get a taste of its own medicine, which likely completely confused the animal, so it decided to run away. The images were shared by the man himself and obviously circulated around social media. Many people mentioned that the motorcyclist's reaction was so unexpected that the dog didn't know what to do, since it was used to barking at the man on the bike, not at him off the bike, and yelling as he ran. It was likely frightened and vanished. A couple who create content for the internet were challenged to carry out a task inside a supermarket, specifically the woman, and naturally, it drew attention. The challenge was for the woman in the couple to arrive at the supermarket and, while shopping with her partner, simply remove her clothes and remain in a bikini right there, in front of all the customers. The idea was to see people's reactions upon seeing her strip in the middle of the place and then remain there in nothing but a bikini, as if nothing unusual were happening. People, seeing that scene, obviously get startled but also feel embarrassed about the awkward situation she creates by undressing. Even though she is still in a bikini, the moment is uncomfortable, and many consider it a lack of respect. A woman who was at a water park with her son decided to get into a canoe to paddle with him across a huge pool. But her choice definitely wasn't the best. Her son, who was already in the canoe, stopped at the edge of the pool so she could get on. However, since this woman was, shall we say, on the heavier side, the canoe could not handle it. It began to sink, and even with the young man trying to keep it balanced, there was no way around it. The canoe filled with water and went under. The mother also tries to balance herself or do something to avoid sinking, but it was already too late. Of course, the situation was extremely embarrassing and humiliating, as everyone around was watching the scene of the woman sinking the canoe because of her weight. On top of that, they were being filmed, and the video made its way onto the internet, further exposing the humiliating moment. A rather hilarious video started to circulate on the internet, showing a surfer performing a trick on the beach and another man trying to imitate him in a very sloppy way. The video begins with the surfer positioning himself on the sand, setting up the board, and heading toward the ocean to catch the wave. He slides across the sand until he hits the wave, which turns into a sort of ramp where he jumps and performs a spin. The move is undoubtedly quite impressive. Then the video immediately shows another man attempting to do the same thing, but as soon as he runs across the sand with his board and puts it down, it sticks and does not slide, causing him to take a huge fall. It's obviously very embarrassing, as he was trying to copy something that ended up being nowhere near the original move, and on top of that, he fell very awkwardly on the sand, tumbling over the board for all to see. A man was filmed in the moment he was carrying a very expensive laptop and was surrounded by thieves who tried to grab it by any means necessary. In footage taken by people on the street, the young man can be seen holding the box with the laptop inside, walking through a crowded area where several looters try to intercept him. Demonstrating his strength, he resists, pushing away his attackers and showing that he is clearly a strong individual. However, after much struggle, several looters surround him. A physical fight breaks out, and he is forced to drop the box, ultimately being robbed right there in broad daylight. As the video circulated on the internet, it stirred up curiosity, and after some investigation, it was discovered that in that specific region, that night, the police were on strike. So, numerous looters took to the streets to raid shops and other places. In other words, the young man who got robbed was also a looter and was being robbed by others. A woman had the brilliant idea of trying to transport a huge piece of furniture on the back of a motorcycle, and the result could not have been any different. Total disaster. Footage taken by someone on the street who noticed the situation and anticipated trouble shows the woman riding on the back of the motorcycle, holding a very long piece of furniture. They move along a street until the motorcycle driver loses his balance, veers to the side, and the furniture slams into a parked car by the curb, damaging it, then falls to the ground, breaking into pieces there. The furniture shatters completely on the pavement, making it evident that her choice was far from wise. Since it was a large, heavy object, the weight on the motorcycle was not properly distributed, causing the driver to lose balance at any moment, which indeed happened. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.